Hello and welcome to this video on waves. Specifically today we're talking about superposition and how interference between waves looks visually. One of the common understandings and struggles with waves and pulses and how they interfere with each other is we can see it, we can go into the barest of bones and generally what we think will happen, but the exact mathematical processes that we're going to see fail on a regular basis. So today we're going to look at how we could draw, how we can make these work and visually step through them to get us some practice and some experience. For this, I've used this drawing program. If you do not particularly care for this drawing program, there is other options. If you type into Chrome or into your Google search, Paint, the first thing will bring up a Paint app. You can draw and doodle in here, drop them out. Personally, I always recommend printing out grids themselves and using those because doing it by hand is almost infinitely easier than anything digital. I don't personally recommend using Google Draw. The lines like to snap to grids too much to get the nuisance. The little fiddly details you need to get to. If you have access to something like this, I use OpenBoard here. Dropping in here and drawing on here is really easy, especially if you have a stylus. But again, you have a variety of options. Paint, the program with the stylus, printing out graph paper, anything. Whatever works for you so you can really get hands-on and you don't have to deal with fiddly lines. The idea often comes down to that you're going to have two pulses. The way I always represent them is red and blue, tell them apart. And then when they overlap, I'm going to show what happens in the overlap in green. So in each of these cases here, I have a pulse. This pulse in red is going to be moving to the right. This pulse in blue is going to be moving to the left. And they're going to move forward at the rate of one box at a time. Now, typically I do one box, but since this is very small and hard to see, I've blown it up here. And in this case, I've doubled the scale of everything. So everything that would be one box is now two. So instead of being 2 boxes wide, like it was here, it's now 4 boxes wide, and so on. So in each of these cases, it's going to move 2 boxes. So let's go ahead and draw this. Now, I'm going to draw each individual step slowly so we can see how this process will go. But as you get more comfortable, you'll be able to draw the superposition, the interposing of the two pulses on top of each other faster, and you won't need to do the full step-by-step process. So here, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to grab a line and move them forward. You'll notice I draw a full line across. That's because I can just erase them later, and I don't need to really worry about anything else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 tall. Now, because they're moving forward a box each time, that means that this line here is my new point. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if your lines aren't perfect, that's okay. Do your best. I've never been artistically talented, and I've never let that stop me from drawing so many things. Once I've done this, I make sure to go back and erase the baseline where I'm deviating from so I can actually see the pulses. And effectively what this is representing is a high amplitude, low pulse width, high pulse width, low amplitude pulses. And then I can just do the next one and keep going until they intersect. Now from here, this is where things are going to get interesting. They're going to start overlapping. Now when I do this personally, what I will do is I will draw the entire thing. Move this up here out of the way so I have room to draw. I'll draw the entire thing first. So here's my line. Here is where red is going to be. Here is where blue is going to be. And you'll notice that there's an overlap between blue and red. Now, because they're both positive, we'll add them positively. If they were opposite sides, like you'll do on your practice problem, they'll cancel each other out and be positive up, negative down, and add to a different value. But here, I have 1, 2 in blue, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in red. So my total I should be up is 8. So I would do this in this section. Now, there are plenty of people that go, okay, draw the green to show the overlap and call it there. I like to go a step farther and erase everything else. So I see that just the green is here, so I don't get confused with all the other points. Either is acceptable, however you want to do it is on you. I just prefer to do it this way so I can see clearly where the overlap is. And then I can draw the next one after that, showing the blue continuing on, the red continuing on from there. That is the general process. So you don't go completely insane drawing all these individual ones. Instead of moving 2 blocks forward in this case, or in this case, 1 block forward, move 2 at a time, speed up the process.
So now you've seen me do the one on the left. Go ahead and give the one here on the right a try with the pulse that is 2 wide, 1 down in red, and the pulse that is 2 wide, 2 up in blue moving towards it. Go ahead, give it a try. Check back after the pause.
So here we have a blown up one. You can't see the blue because it's hiding behind my camera, but as they start moving towards each other. They're moving at a rate of 2 boxes per step, and then as they meet, there's this overlap. And I left the blue and red together so you could see both, but when I erase them, what you're going to see here is there's just this green smaller bump because the destructive interference between the red and the blue adds up. Down 2 in this case, up 4 makes positive 4, negative 2 adds together to give me just 2, which gives me just this section here, which I will redraw like that. And then afterwards, they continue on with the blue pulse, the upward pulse, continuing to the left, and the red pulse continuing to the right. And that's the basics of superposition. It's showing the overlap. You just add each of the values that are overlapping to get the total value, draw up lines. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good one.